Good day, everybody. My name is Mac Duke, aka Kagiso Deker. That's my birth name. That's important for you guys to know. So basically, what I do is I work with doctors. I work with doctors a lot, but today I have a special case. She's a chartered accountant, but she's not that far off, right? Because you guys are also doctors.
We are doctors in business.
Exactly. So we're not so far off. And today I'm going to be helping her to premiere her podcast, which is
Numbers don't lie.
Numbers Don't Lie. So basically, the idea is you can't argue with the facts, you can't argue with the statistics. And I'm sure when you guys are doing your auditing, when you guys are doing your accounting, a client could say, we're making this or we're losing this. But until you see the numbers, it'll only make sense. So that's how we came up with the name of the podcast, that you can't argue with the results. Whether it's success, whether it's personal venture, whether it's in business, whether it's in any avenue of life, you can't just argue with the facts. So today we have Millycent Mashele, who is going to give a 30-second version of herself. But before she does that, yes, numbers don't lie. Make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you follow us on our Facebook page. Make sure that you follow us on our Instagram and TikTok as well. Let me take it over to the main lady.
Thank you so much, Mac Duke, and I'm excited to really be here speaking about numbers because that's all I know. That's my language, and a lot of people are scared of numbers. Whenever you mention numbers, they start thinking it's for the accountants. So, but basically, my name is Millycent Mashele, like you've said. I call myself a village girl, an education activist, and a businesswoman. Yes, indeed, I'm a village girl. I grew up in Mpumalanga, and I always keep a village wherever I am. And I am an education activist because I believe that I have been blessed with the gift of education, with the studies that I've done, and I also love teaching. I'm a teacher at heart. And the business is that I'm a director at MGI Res, and I also have other businesses like Wansati and other business interests. So that's me in a nutshell, and I'm excited to be finally launching this podcast.
Yeah.
It's been coming, but it was distracted by other things in life. So I'm glad that the timing is right for us to talk about numbers.
The timing can only be perfect. Before we get into the numbers and before we get into the meat of this conversation, let us first pay the bills. You spoke about Wansati, which is sponsoring this podcast. So tell us a bit about Wansati, what it means, and what products do you have? Because I see there are wonderful and beautiful products here. So tell us a bit on that before we get into the meat.
So Wansati is a personal care product company. We actually specialize with producing personal care products. We are really inspired by a woman. So our name is Wansati, and it's in Tsonga, it's woman. So we're inspired by a story of a woman. I'm inspired by a woman myself. So not to say that we don't have products for males, but the basic of everything is the fact that we have a mother, we have a sister. That story just captures the beauty of a woman. And you can then see that we do have a perfume for males, and then we have a perfume brand also for females. And then we have personal care for your bathroom, for your kitchen. You can be covered. So we have a range of products. You can get us online. We have a website, wansatibeauty.co.za, and we'll also have social media platforms. So you can look us up and do get your product and be inspired by the story that we all have in our life. We all have a woman that paved our story.
Yeah, let me. Smells
so
magical.
We do have a range of designer inspired products. So whatever you love, we are having one that is inspired by a certain designer label.
Yeah, thank you so much. So ladies and gentlemen, Wansati Beauty is sponsoring this podcast. And like you heard, we have an online store, www.wansatibeauty.co.za. There is also another store at Benoni.
Yes, Lakeside Mall.
The Benoni Lakeside Mall. Yes. Okay, now we've paid the bills.
Okay. We can relax now.
We can relax.
The numbers have been managed.
Take a moment. The numbers have been managed. Okay. So I understand that you are big in career. You are big in personal development. You are also big in business. And I remember when we came here, we were actually watching a video of this guy, Rupert. And I mean, he is the richest man in South Africa. And then he was basically saying that the way technology is coming, it's coming in so hard that it's threatening the middle class. We are actually destroying the middle class because there's going to be a point whereby AI is just doing everything. And now it makes people obsolete because we're not only worrying about unemployment, we're also worrying about people being unemployable. And we've also seen that we've worked a lot. I used to do marketing in one of your organizations, I remember. And there was a time where we were hiring interns, and then we got 400 CVs. But in those 400 CVs, you could tell that, something is just missing because some of these candidates are unemployable. So maybe let's bring that conversation just right in front of us and talk about as somebody who is hungry for career. I mean, when you are a chartered accountant, it means that you really need to work to be a chartered accountant. And when Mr. Rupert is saying that people are going to be unemployable, now let's take it that what could the problem be in South Africa? In terms of when we also look at the numbers when it comes to unemployment in South Africa, the numbers are so crazy. The numbers are so crazy. We'll actually put them down on the screen. So these are some of the numbers that maybe we need to confront in the first episode, just add a little flair on it. So what was your take on that, and what's your perspective?
My take really on these numbers, it's really to reflect on what is happening behind this number.
Yeah.
So the fact that we are talking about the numbers is the fact that every number that we think of as an individual, there is a fact that or quality that supports that. So if you are to think your age comes in number.
Yeah.
So there is like growth to it.
Yes.
Time comes in number, then we can know what time it is, Even health, our health is measured in numbers. So it means numbers are important. When we see a number tells us a story, we need to dig deeper and understand what's happening on the ground. So in terms of employment is really to dig deeper to say, what really supports this quality, or what really supports this unemployment rate, where you're actually saying at some point is not really the fact that there's no people and there's no jobs. It's the fact that there is unemployable people. Then we can get to the fact that it's in the numbers, it's in the experience that you get. So if you go to school and you are just there to memorize and then you pass, you didn't really earn your numbers. You can earn your certificate, but not earn your numbers. Sure. So experience comes in numbers, comes in hours of hard work. So we might need to dig deeper to say, do we really invest in the right curriculum? Do we really invest in the right knowledge? Do we get skills? Do we really invest our time in making sure that the product or the production of our skills is actually aligned to the skills that is required by the future, is required by the organizations at the moment? So when we don't do that, it means there is something missing in those numbers that we don't do. Like the investment that we make is not really aligned to the product or the quality of the people that we produce. So in my journey as an accountant, I know that I also even tell my young professionals that you need to sit until your bum hurts. Acquiring knowledge, it's like digging, mining knowledge. So if you don't mine, you cut corners, it will be seen. You won't be employable. You will be scared that jobs will come, technology will come and take your job. But when you know that you invest in upskilling yourself, relearning and unlearning, because that's also the numbers, that's also the time that you need to take, because you can actually just qualify and then all is happy and then you are just... Now you can be replaceable. But it means you need to continuously invest in that skills acquisition, and it takes a lot of personal development, It takes your time. So there is a book that really talks, is The Alchemist, I think. It
Yeah, The
talks
Alchemist.
about
A wonderful
10,000
book, yeah.
10,000 hours to acquire skills to really say you are a master. So you can imagine 10,000 hours that you need to do so that you can be a master. So even with our young graduates, young professionals, we need to really invest in those hours.
Yeah.
So we can produce quality numbers.
Yeah. You also said that it's all in the numbers, and numbers are telling a story. So it means that we also have to follow where the numbers are going, because the market is changing, the consumer taste is changing. What used to work 5 years ago doesn't work today, and unfortunately, it does not matter how much knowledge you get. Your knowledge has a lifespan of 2 years, meaning that in 2 years, everything that you know today will be totally irrelevant. And if we follow where the numbers are going, yes, we might think that it's doom and it's gloom, but if we follow where the numbers are going, then we'll get to the promised land. Like now, if you can look at our education system, you find out that there are more people in the university than there are jobs. So if we carry on with these numbers, it means that the results are going to be this way. But like you're saying, you need to sit down and acquire skill and acquire experience, because you can get a certificate, but a certificate does not mean that you are employable.
Yeah.
So we need to invest in different numbers, follow different numbers, where there's, like now there's technology, now there's artificial intelligence, now there's data analytics. We need to follow these numbers so that we can find the promised land. And talking about just education, talking about employability, for me personally, I think you need to be educated first as an individual before you get into the class. Do you get that?
I do get what you're saying. It's actually, I call it self-education.
Yeah.
So most of the time, and it's because of how the system of our world is, we don't pursue self-education because by age 3, you're at crash. Your mother took you there,
Yeah.
So you were not really awakened to the fact that you need to self-educate. So that's why we struggle to self-educate. So you need to get to a level you awaken your self-education. Then you will know that you don't just get to do another qualification or register for another course or find yourself in class just because you're part of the numbers. Education has to be in you, because at this moment I need to self-educate myself towards being a good business leader. I started a business. By chance, I find myself started a business because I had a passion in singing. For example, you are an artist and you have this business now. You get booked, you have to go perform, you get yourself income. There's no one you need to find yourself to say, I need to understand the business of mastering an artist business, because now you are the business. So then you will study. Your studying is going to be invested, and your numbers in terms of the hours that you put will be actually personalized, and it will be worth it. So in South Africa, we struggle because of that, because that gap, we always get to school because go study accounting. I went to study accounting purely because by chance, my brother applied for me. I ended up being an accountant. But when I'm an accountant, now I need to take a step to say, what does it mean to be the best accountant? True. At this point, what does the accountant of the future mean? Will I still be part of the accountants employable in the future? If I don't do that, that is self-education. Unfortunately, in the future, I'll either be disgruntled because I'll still have a job because I'm permanent wherever I am, but I'm not happy because I'm not really aligned and I'm not passionate and people are moving. There's technology that comes. So that's where you even find disgruntled people. So coming back to following the numbers. In auditing, so I'm an auditor in my main life. In auditing, we say, in God we trust and the rest we audit. So investment in understanding the numbers. Even as a business owner, I find most business owners, they actually are selling products that are not even profitable because they don't know. They're just excited that the clients are buying this product. So they don't audit. You don't sit and audit your numbers so that you can make decisions. Like I remember during COVID, we were always following the numbers. Like we were always following the numbers, and we could follow because it was actually coming out. So even in our business, even in our lives, financially, if your finances are not making sense, go to your bank statement, follow the number. What is happening? Dig into those numbers. And because numbers, we all know every time they think numbers at home, for example, they will come to me. So it's like I'm the only person who's a numbers person. But basically, the crucial element of numbers, everyone has to at least understand the numbers so that they can be able to follow their own numbers.
Yeah.
We are financially illiterate, most of us. We are in debt. We don't understand how to come out. But if you were to sit with your bank statement 2 months, 3 months, you will understand where's the gap here. And that is not a rocket science. You can sit with your bank statement and understand your transactions and then start saying, I must change this. I'm buying a lot of this. It's not necessary. So I want us to, in this podcast, to really just help you understand that the numbers you need to better your life, it's sitting with you. It's not sitting with a doctor. It's not sitting with an accountant.
True.
I talk too much. I can always talk and not really finish.
That's your platform. This is your podcast. You can go crazy. Now we've spoken about numbers, and basically through this conversation, we're just breaking down how the podcast is going to be, the direction of the podcast. As a matter of fact, this is a very unscripted episode. There's no script here. Jesus is taking the wheel.
That's what he said. And I'm the numbers person. I want to have preparation and I want to, So when I was coming with him, I was like, so how are we going to do this? It's like Jesus will take the wheel.
Yeah.
But I think you get what we are about to get to, excited about the numbers, and we all get to understand the numbers.
True.
You need to understand the numbers.
Now, let's talk about investing in knowledge. We've spoken about education. For me personally, education is developing yourself from within. No, education is not cramming. Education is not cramming to write a test so that you can pass. Education is with the information that you are given in school, in class, through your teachers, through your lectures. What are you doing with this information to develop yourself from within, which makes you have the hunger of knowledge? Now let's talk about the investment of knowledge. The Bible speaks about where there is no knowledge, the people suffer. My people are suffering, my people are scattered because they lack knowledge. Meaning that wherever there's suffering, there is a point where there is a lack of knowledge. And if we can invest in the knowledge, it means that we can manage the suffering. You might find out that you are suffering in debt because you're not investing in the knowledge of financial literacy. And sometimes we think that investing in knowledge is so expensive. But if you're not investing in financial literacy, wait until you see the cost of ignorance, being in debt, wearing clothes that you don't want to wear, living in a house that you don't want to live in. Your kids are going to a school that you don't want them to go into. So what's the significance of investing in knowledge when we are talking about following the numbers, or when we are talking about numbers don't lie?
It's really to understand that as a human being, you need to have goals. So those goals, you need to understand that they will need to be achieved because of certain knowledge skills. So most of us, we look at people and think, you know what, this person is so blessed, this person is so lucky, or this person is from a different family structure, and we give 100 excuses. And those excuses are the one that even makes us not even start to seek for the right knowledge. We get actually comfortable. We just want to validate ourselves by these excuses. Sure. But if you are a person and you want to change your life and you have these goals, you need to understand that you need to then acquire knowledge. And knowledge, most of us, when we go to school, I know I have a lot of clients or my coaches that I come mentors, mentees they come and say, I want to register for the other course, because we feel like knowledge is just you being registered with another course and then we graduate. We thank God for the graduation season. We're excited by it. But in real sense, that's where knowledge starts. Because we want to understand that piece of paper that says you're an accountant, can you actually do financial statements? Can you actually understand what it means to practically be an accountant? And most of us, we actually can't. That's why we're looking for someone to employ us. Because I believe if you had the right knowledge, you would actually understand that you can be able to start from something, from nothing, with the knowledge that you have. And start small and create something. Knowledge, it helps you create.
Yeah.
So most of the gaps, it's either there's two sides of this coin, where you actually don't have the theoretical knowledge to even know where to begin, or you have the theoretical knowledge, but you don't have the practical part of it to actually create something. So I always challenge myself when I have these qualifications. At some point when I was running my own firm, when I went to entrepreneurship, I was actually just challenging myself to say, they say I'm an accountant. I can sign on financial statement. Can I do it from nothing and just depend on my skill, So not to say that everyone has to be an entrepreneur, but I just want to say that if you are suffering, you don't have, like you're in debt, just ask yourself, where can I find this knowledge and how do I practically implement? Because they will tell you about budgeting and financial literacy. Budgeting, but then come to doing the real budget and monitoring your budget, you don't do it. Then it is zero. The fact that you went and paid somebody to give you a qualification or even give you the skill theoretically, if you don't implement. So we need to marry the two to actually produce what we need.
Yeah.
So a holistic approach to knowledge acquisition and investment in knowledge needs to always challenge the theory. Do you have the theory? And do you have the practical? Are you using both elements?
True. Yeah. And the thing with knowledge, especially as human beings, we generally dream. Nobody wants to dream a low life. Nobody wakes up and say, no, I want to dream to be in a worse situation than I am. We are always dreaming high. We always want to live in better houses, build better businesses, go to better universities. So we are always dreaming high. So what knowledge becomes the building block to that reality. So it's like I'm building a staircase with the books that I'm reading, with the knowledge that I'm acquiring, the podcast that I'm listening into. I'm building a staircase, and the more I build this staircase, I am advancing myself to that life that I'm looking for because of the knowledge that I'm acquiring. One reason why people would want to hire an auditor is because they don't know. I go to a doctor, one day I wake up, I'm running around the house, I have a toothache. The reason why I'm going to a doctor is because I don't know, But once we invest into this hunger of knowledge, it makes life easy for us because you get to know. And like I said, if you think that buying a book of let's say Rich Dad Poor Dad, that's the most famous financial literacy book, you are failing to buy Rich Dad Poor Dad for 250, but you have 250 rand, but you have debt worth of 250,000. You see, that's where you are killing yourself. So knowledge is
breaking
everywhere.
free.
Yeah.
Like it's actually breaking free from ignorance.
Yeah.
So most of us are so ignorant to even understand that actually here I need to get knowledge.
Knowledge, yeah, true.
I'm not sure whether it's ignorance or sometimes it's ego, because sometimes when we studied, especially me, I have the right to say that because I think I did study a bit in my life. You can always be created, you can have ego unconsciously so to think you know. So sometimes you need to consciously, education is a daily exercise. You need to humble yourself to understand that as a leader here, maybe it's the first time I'm in leadership role.
Yeah.
So I need to learn something about leadership. But if you have ego, you'll think, I got here because I know. Then you already, your basis of understanding leadership is already not going to be a firm foundation because you have ego. Then the other part is ignorance, where you actually don't know that you don't know.
Yeah.
That's also dangerous because then you're not even going to be cured. It's like not knowing that you have a sickness. You're not going to get the right you're not going to go to the doctor, like you said.
True, true.
Yeah.
I think let's step back. I think we are kicking so much knowledge. Let's go to the light questions now.
Okay.
What are your expectations about this podcast? Numbers don't lie.
My expectation is to reawaken the understanding that our life is about the numbers.
Yeah.
So when something is not working, you need to ask yourself, which number should I pursue? I'll give an example. So I didn't know much about the numbers of the body, right?
Yeah.
And then when I was pregnant, I went to the doctor for just a regular checkup. Get to the doctor, it's the regular checkup. He does the machines, I don't know. I'm just as innocent. And then I see my doctor's face change. Literally to, we would say white or whatever color when a person is now so scared.
Yeah.
My doctor's face changed. Apparently my high blood numbers were high, like skyrocketing that I could get a stroke. And I didn't know numbers about high blood,
Yeah.
So it thinks that it's like a human being's health is measured in numbers. But we are so ignorant to just basically continue, So you can understand that everything is about the number.
Yeah.
So numbers means a lot in our lives. For businesses, most startups, I have a heart for startups. I've run businesses. I actually know the challenges that startups have.
Yeah.
When I coach business startups, most of them don't even have any number written down. When you say, how much do you sell this? They will tell you. And you say, so in units a month, how much do you sell? They'll say, I think I sell 50, I think. So where did you write these things? Do you have a tracker of these numbers? They will say, no, I just know it in my head. You're like, we're in trouble.
You can never trust your head. Yeah.
Imagine a business that is run without the knowledge of the numbers. So I would actually and I'll give an exercise. My first coaching for business, I need to see the numbers because sometimes you continue coaching until you are coaching nothing.
The numbers
are not numbering. So when I do a business coaching, I want the numbers. And we can do them together, but I want to see the numbers. When you tell me I sell this, how much, how many units per unit, these are the numbers that every entrepreneur has them in their mind because they're the one buying these things. They understand, but they just don't put them down. So that is a basic thing. I need to bring that awareness out, And for a young professional looking at me and thinking, yo, Sis Milly is so well achieved. They envy me, guys. And it's nice, but I want them to know that it's in the numbers. I sit and study and acquire knowledge and I invest in the numbers. So I want to speak to experts that have invested their time in finding something and knowing that. So they will never lie to us because the numbers behind them support what they're saying. So it's really that awareness and making sure that even the Bible says, Lord, help me number my days.
Yeah.
So sometimes in our life, we just need to sit back and say, where am I in life? And God has put something inside all of us to know where we are in life. And transition, because sometimes when we don't even ask ourselves, where am I in life? You can't transition to be at the level where you're supposed to be because you don't even really sit back and ask, number my days. Help me, Lord, to number my days. So in a nutshell, it's an awareness about the fact that these numbers mean something.
Yeah, true.
And we all can have an understanding of our own numbers so that we actually live a life that is enriched, that is fulfilled, that is indeed what we're supposed to live. Because our days are numbered.
Are numbered. And I remember numbers became important to me when we started working. I remember you guys used to talk about, when I came in, I was just so blank. Now I know much about accounting. I remember you guys used to talk about a trial balance. You guys used to talk about a GL. There was just so many things that you guys used to talk about, and you used to emphasize the point that a trial balance needs to balance, right? And meaning that if we investigate the numbers and we measure correctly, it means that life becomes, it creates a balance. So it also in our personal lives, you could be investigating maybe why you have anxiety. You could be investigating why is it so hard for you maybe to overcome this a certain type of fear, a certain type of addiction. Then you sit down and then you look at the numbers, then you find balance, because now the numbers are vindicating you. And with that being said, who is the person who is listening to this podcast? Is it a small business? Is it an individual? Is it corporate? So who is spending their time listening to this podcast?
I would really say I want to speak to everyone who is ready to have an awakening,
Yeah.
an awareness, and they can pick up something. Yes, I know I'm a CA, and when you hear that I'm a CA, you can quickly think it's accounting. You can quickly, and people run away from accounting. So I'm used to people running away. I don't want you to run away. Yes, we will break certain numbers that are accounting, but we will break numbers in general that we can speak to a doctor who comes and talk to us about what it means to balance your numbers in the body, like you're talking about balance. And how do you manage the numbers of your body by diet and gym? You understand?
True.
And then some other days I can speak to a successful entrepreneur who has worked on their numbers in terms of experience. They have failed and they are successful, and they can tell us a story about how they got to be such successful entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Another day, I can speak to someone who has failed and they have reflected in their failure, so their numbers were not in vain.
Yeah.
So it's a different conversation that caters for someone. I personally, my passion is young professionals. I love speaking to young professionals because I also coach them and mentor them. I feel like they say, "Ndlela ivutisiwa ka lava nga rhanga." In my language, they say the road is asked from the people who came first. The elders. So my passion for young professionals is the fact that I am older in the profession and I can help them. And I also have a passion for small business owners or startups, because I've started businesses. Some failed, some are still trying to survive, and we need to get them to be healthy, and it's because of the numbers. So that is that. And generally, as a mother and other interest that comes in my life as a spiritual person. So to answer your question in a short, not really wasting the numbers, which is the time.
Which is the time.
Is the fact that each and everyone can resonate to it. There will be certain people who will be more inclined because of my passion at some point, but generally everyone will be reminded about the numbers in their lives.
Touching a bit on your passion for small business. In South Africa, you see my reactions now. In South Africa, we have, it's like a small business curse, where small business remains small because of small mindset. Where you said you will be having a coaching session or a conversation with someone only to find out that there's no spreadsheet to prove really that the numbers are really valid. And it makes things unnecessarily tough, because from day one we don't set our business to automatically grow because we're thinking with our stomachs. And when we are thinking with our stomachs, you find that the reason why they are starting a business is because they're desperate for money. And that's the worst time to start a business. The reason why they're starting a business is because they wanted a quick hustle. There's no, that passion for business. We're not saying that we want to be Silicon Valley, but we want to put dignity in small business to say, you know what, this is not a side hustle. This is actually a business. This is an asset that can grow in value. This is not just a small business, SME, a little thing in the corner there. This is a dignified business that can grow, and we need to treat it that way. So what can you say is the one thing that we need to change in South Africa for us to create small businesses that are eventually going to be big, that are eventually going to transcend in time? Because there's just so much, there's so much congestion. Businesses being started every day, but if you look at the quality and the dignity of the business of, small, particularly black businesses, because we are even scared of supporting each other, because sometimes you find out the quality is bad, the processes, you are waiting for something as a logo that can be done for 5 days. Now you are waiting for 2 months. What can you say can be done, as black professionals to dignify and bring dignity to small business and entrepreneurship?
Understand when you say bring dignity to entrepreneurship. Personally, I have started business in 2016, running my own firm. Now I work for MGI. It's a medium-sized audit firm. I'm a director there. So in a way, I'm still a business person.
Yeah.
So I have worked with a lot of entrepreneurs and SMMEs and small business owners. Like from day one, where a person just have a CIPC certificate and they come to you and say, Millycent, I started a business. And some of them, I've seen them grow to be 20 million business revenue.
Yeah.
And to differentiate them, it's really the entrepreneur themselves. So the entrepreneurs themselves, because there are certain entrepreneurs that they just stuck on survival, and then they don't see anything beyond. And because they went into entrepreneurship just because they bumped into it to make money because they were hungry, they just remain there. They don't invest in finding knowledge and saying, how can I grow myself? How can I grow the business? Then they just keep on keeping on. They don't grow. So to answer you is the fact that we need to professionalize entrepreneurship. Actually, that's my opinion, where I think as an accountant, when I say I'm an accountant, it makes sense. It's like people respect me, because I'm part of a profession. So I think professionalizing entrepreneurship, it means we need to invest in the curriculum of entrepreneurship from ground roots and understand that entrepreneurs are not lazy people. Because when I was doing my business directly, it felt like everybody could call me during the week and ask me to do something for them and
even on Sundays
meet them. And some people will call me at night and they want their tax clearance. I'm like, but these people don't understand. This is work. So in South Africa, we don't see entrepreneurs or business owners as a profession and as professionals. So they are just people who are just selling. So we need to professionalize, have curriculum, have structures of training. And obviously, entrepreneurship cuts across. So it can be a challenge to just say only doctors they started their practice. So we need to find a way of how, because business is science. So when you start a business, you are starting, it's like baking a cake. Baking a cake, these are the ingredients. If I put 1, 2, 3, this is how I must mix. At this stage, I must put this and the cake will come out nice. That's science. It's a scientific process. Business is a scientific process. And most of us don't understand that scientific process, that if you start a business, we need you to be this type of entrepreneur. You need to take risk, but your risk taking must be around this. And then at the same time, there's products. How's your product design? There's staff members. How are you managing your staff members? How are you then managing marketing? And these things, when you start and you are one-man show, it's done by one person.
Yep.
So it means we need to understand that a curriculum that can fit when a person is just an early entrepreneur and they don't have staff members, what can we help them with in this curriculum? And then we need to tell them, when you get here, you need to, like, stages, and then people will understand, because sometimes you find that this business is doing well and it's not a matter of survival. It's just a matter that this business is crying to grow. I need to be scaled. Like, it's crying that is scaling time. But the entrepreneur still wants to do things like they're the one-man show. That business is going to die. Sure. So that is very important. Investment in the expertise. It's like when you're pregnant, you know that you need to go for checkups. And you don't just go to anyone, you go to the right professionals. So these are the holistic approach where entrepreneurs don't even have anybody supporting them. They don't have the right skill. They don't go to the right checkups. For example, if we give that scenario of being pregnant. Yeah, so I'm not sure if I've answered you.
You've answered me perfectly, because it makes me reflect in my own personal journey as an entrepreneur. I understand that for my business to grow, I have to grow. And my business cannot grow beyond me. And I can't keep on holding on to, because the reason why businesses don't grow is because we hold on to them. Like we are holding on to them, and we're not allowing them to flourish. And when you say that it's the entrepreneur, it means that we don't have to focus on the business. We have to focus on the entrepreneur, you know. And if we round it up with all this conversation, the entrepreneur must educate himself. The entrepreneur must invest in knowledge, not just the knowledge, in the right knowledge. And the entrepreneur must be willing to let go and let other people help them. So it truly is the entrepreneur, because if the entrepreneur is quality, then the business automatically is quality. But if the entrepreneur is somebody who is casual, you know, who's just, I'm just casual about life, I'm just casual about business, then it also shows into the practices of the business.
And it's sad. Because the personality of an entrepreneur can actually hinder a business growing just because of their personality.
Yeah.
If we were to change this person's way of making decision, this business
is going to run. If this person is casual and is lazy, you're going to see in the outcome of the business that things are dragging.
They are disorganized, you know. So sometimes we need to just say, also understand your personality. How do you then manage? How do you grow? Sometimes you need to bring certain expertise you don't know, but you can't bring them because you don't see. So it's a sad reality out there.
It is a sad reality. Yeah, I think in my language, meaning that the cow doesn't take out all the cow dung.
Okay.
So I think we can pause the conversation here, you know, and you are going to be having more guests coming in. You know, they are going to be professionals, you know, just talking to your audience. But before I hand it over back to you, maybe I might as well take advantage of the situation, you know.
Pay the bills.
Yeah. You might be asking yourself, who is this guy with a big head and what is he doing here? So basically, like I said, my name is Mac Duke and I'm the founder of Snapcare. So basically in Snapcare, what we do is we do marketing for doctors. Yeah. And we also help, you know, professionals and businesses, doctors to get started with podcasting. That's me paying my own bills. Let's go back to our main bills again. So remember, guys, that one Sati Beauty, we have male perfumes, we have female perfumes, we have a range of products in our online store. We also have a physical store at Benoni. So this is one Sati Beauty. Make sure that you get yourself a perfume. Make sure that you get your lady a perfume. Make sure that you serenade your home or your environment with, you know, sweet aroma candles. And with that being said, that's me bowing out. I'm going to take it back to the main host of the show, and then she's going to close us out.
Thank you so much, Mac Duke. I think you really helped me to break my fear. And sometimes we all have those fears. Yeah. It's natural to have a fear of failure. It's natural to have fear of what people will say. It's also natural to have your own self-limiting beliefs that you are dealing with on a day-to-day basis. So I might say that you've helped me And I hope I'm going to be a great host going forward. We're going to enjoy our conversations. We're going to have icebreakers. We're going to have storytelling time. And we're going to explore different numbers as and when. You can also just suggest any topic that you would want us to focus on. It will really help in terms of structuring our podcast. And it would be great to also just be consistent. So please, Mac Duke, if I'm not consistent, you need to make sure that you ask the question that I was there on your first podcast, what happened?
What happened?
So I need to be consistent and ensure that we grow in knowledge, we grow in just the fear and break the fear of understanding the numbers, and make sure that we become fulfilled, we become happier, and we become really well-informed and well-structured people. So thank you so much for lending us your ear and your eyes. We're looking forward to the greatest podcast, I guess, if I say it myself.
The numbers don't lie.
Numbers don't lie. We'll see the numbers as the numbers come. It will be definitely a reassurance of the fact that numbers don't lie. Follow the numbers. You will definitely know where to fix or where to invest. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.